Hey guys, Constance here. Welcome back to Good Life Farm. So I am in the kitchen doing my day one of Thanksgiving prep. So I have cranberry sauce going over here on the stove. Now if you have never had homemade cranberry sauce, you have not had cranberry sauce. It is so much better than anything that would come out of a can. And very often people who say they do not like cranberry sauce, once they taste the real deal, they realize that they actually love cranberry sauce. So for the homemade cranberry sauce, it's just 3 cups of fresh cranberries, 1 1/4 cup of orange juice, ½ cup of real maple syrup, and then you can use either honey or brown sugar. The recipe calls for ½ cup, but I find that honey is actually sweeter than brown sugar, and so if you're using honey, I would maybe reduce that down to like 1/3 of a cup, or maybe even a little bit less, because the maple syrup really adds a lot of sweetness to your cranberry sauce. And then you just bring it all to a gentle boil, reduce the heat, and then let it simmer for about 20 minutes or until it is kind of thickened and your cranberries are all going to pop. Now if you want, you could puree this with an immersion blender or in a regular blender, let it cool down a little bit before you do that if you don't want big chunks of cranberry in it. Personally, I like it, so I just leave it as it is. And as it cools down, it'll actually thicken up. So it's going to be thicker than what it seems when it's cooking. But whatever you do, be very, very careful. Make sure it does not boil over. That's why I said when you bring it to a boil, you bring it to a very gentle boil. You want to watch it because believe me, I learned the hard way. Cranberry sauce that boils over is not easy to clean up. So the next thing I'm going to make is my brine for the turkey. Now I'm going to brine my turkey for about 24 hours, which means I'll be starting it tomorrow because today is Tuesday. But I want to go ahead and make the brine now because it's going to take a big pot, and that means a lot of volume, and it's going to be hot. And so I want this to cool down prior to actually going in with the turkey. So I'm going to go ahead and make it today, and then I can use the brine in the morning. So in my big pot here, I've got 1.5 cups of kosher salt. I'm going to add 3 cups of apple juice. Next, I need 1/2 cup of brown sugar, a tablespoon of black peppercorns. We're going to need 5 bay leaves. Mine are actually a little bit broken, so I'm just going to kind of estimate 5 leaves there. Next, I need about a tablespoon of crushed dry rosemary leaves, but because I have fresh rosemary in the garden, I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to use a couple sprigs of some fresh rosemary right here. I'll just pull the leaves off of the stems and drop them in. rosemary. Next, I have 3 oranges, and in the past I would just kind of take the peel off and use the peel when I was doing this, but we love the natural oils that are in these oranges, and so nowadays I use my microplaner and I take the zest off into the brine first. So I'm going to zest each orange. And you don't have to get every last bit of the zest off, you just want to get a good bunch of it. Cut the orange in half, and then ooh, that is really bright. Alright, cut the orange in half, and then I'm going to squeeze the juice into the pot. And then just toss the whole thing in. And I'm going to repeat that with all of the oranges. So I've got all of my oranges in here. I've got them zested, juiced, sort of juiced and squeezed and just plopped into the brine. And so now I'm going to take 1 onion and I'm just going to peel it, and I'm just going to kind of chop it into chunks. And into the pot. So the last thing that went in there, of course, was some water. Now overall this recipe will use 2 gallons, but I don't think it's necessary to pull out a massive oversized pot to use the whole 2 gallons at once. And so I just use my stock pot. I put in 1 gallon of water, and then when I actually go to use the brine, then I'll add the other gallon at that time. So now what I'm going to do is bring all of this up to a boil. Then I will reduce the heat and I will simmer this for about 15 to 20 minutes. And I'll give it an occasional stir just to help that salt in there dissolve fully. But that is it. Then the brine will be finished, and I'll simply allow it to cool. I'm just going to let this cool overnight, and I will use it to brine my turkey in the morning. Alright, so I mentioned in my video the other day when I had gone on my trip up to Missouri that the sweet lady who I got my goats from gifted me with something. Because she is a subscriber to my channel, she knows that I love antiques and I love milk glass. And she had some milk glass and she decided to gift it to me. So I haven't even looked at the contents of the box yet, so I'm just now getting around to this. So there is a hobnail pitcher, milk glass pitcher, and there are little dishes, little like custard dishes or fruit bowls, maybe you would call these. There's several of those, and then there are some of these pretty goblets, I think you would call these. Aren't those neat? And there's this one right here. This pretty serving dish. Isn't that lovely? So I will definitely be putting these to use. Hey guys, so it's actually the next morning now. I was very busy working on stuff yesterday and never wrapped up the video. But yesterday was day 1 of prep. Today is going to be day 2. Today is the big day. It's the casseroles, it's the pies. It's going to be a big kitchen day today. So I am going to get started here, but I just wanted to kind of come in and wrap up the video. Oh, real quick, when I went and got my nails done yesterday, I went next door to the antique store that I like to frequent, and I bought something. Let me show you what I got. So, as most of you know, I am a food writer. I have a website, and for several years it's been Cosmopolitan Cornbread. I'm going to be rebranding it at the end of the year to agoodlifefarm.com, which that link already works, already takes you there. And so I do a lot of food photography, and I have all sorts of dishes, and they're all like mismatched. It's the dishes that we actually eat on all the time. Some antique plates and things like that. But what I don't actually have in my kitchen is a set of dishes. And I walked through the antique store yesterday and I actually found a set. And it was a good price. Now, I don't know that these are antiques or anything like that. I don't really know much about them, but I thought they were pretty. And so this is the set. You've got the small bowl, the bread plate, the dinner plate, and then it also has like the larger soup bowl or pasta bowl, however you would want to use that. These right here, like that. And like I said, it was a good price and it was a complete set, service for 6. And there's not a chip on any of these or anything like that. And I just love the design. It's got like a kind of like a country manor. You got little swans down here and everything. And I just thought it was pretty. And since I didn't have any kind of dish set, I thought these would be our special occasion dishes. The brand is Queens by Churchill. Made in England, and it's not antique because it says it's microwave and dishwasher safe, but I thought it was a very pretty set and had sort of a vintage kind of feel to it, that transferware design. So I picked those up, and but before I wrap this up, I've had a bunch of questions about our baby bucklings that we got, why there's green in their ears. That is actually dye, because when you have animals that are registered like that, livestock animals, they get tattoos in their ears. And the way that is done is by a little stamp that stamps the number, and then they rub the ink into the stamp, and so the ink starts off, or the dye starts in the ears, but then of course they shake their head and they wiggle around and it kind of gets all over the place. But it'll fade and go away, and they won't have green all over them in the future. So that's it. I'm going to wrap this up then. There is not going to be a Friday video this week because it is Thanksgiving. I'm going to be super busy today. I'm going to have company here Thursday, and so I'm just going to take that time off, spend it with my friends and family, and I will be coming back again on Monday with the next video. So I hope you all have a wonderful Thanksgiving with full tummies and lots of new memories. So thanks for hanging out with me here again at A Good Life Farm. My name is Constance, and I'll talk to y'all next time.